streak, the bats. Welcome to Atlanta, Alex Verdugo. Look at the bullpen. Look at the starters. Look at the clutch hitting that we got. John, you were talking about all of the hits that came that were clutch yesterday. 7 of the 8 hits we got came with 2 outs. So now a clutch factor starting to show up. The Braves we thought we were going to see from the jump, we now saw for one weekend's worth of pleasure. Now, can they do it again? And that's what we should be talking about. Until a guy didn't bust hump down the first base line, Jarred Kelenic thought he hit a home run Saturday. We had a close game. The good thing is we did not lose the game. Now, this would be a bigger story if we lose a 1-run game. We end up winning it 4-3, but he doesn't bust hump in the game. Thinks he hits a home run. Says, got to turn on the motors, and is gunned down going to second base. He comes out of the game or comes back to the dugout, and there wasn't a lot of hoopla after the game. When asked about it, Snit said he did not see it, and so it sparked a lot of conversation in Braves country over the weekend via social media.
Yeah, and Michaels and I were trying to figure out why Brian Snitker didn't see it. I don't know if he had to go to use the facilities. I don't think he's a smoker, but maybe there's a smoke break in there at some point. He had going on. Maybe they were out of bubble gum and sunflower seeds, so he went back to go refill them.
Right.
I just don't know how you miss a ball off the right field wall.
Can I defend
with a guy on first base that moves to third and then he gets thrown out at second? You miss that whole thing.
May I represent Braves manager Brian Snitker?
Please do. We're just trying to figure it out.
What's the first thing, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you do when you see a ball go off the bat of a player?
Watch where it's landing.
Right.
Yeah.
So you probably aren't watching the guy run out of the batter's box.
Obviously.
So when you see that he's not where he should be, now you can put 2 and 2 together. But his statement, he did not see it. I could accept that if you thought, if everybody from the dugout thought it might have been gone. Your initial reaction is to look up, see where the ball is, and then you look to see where the runner is.
Yeah, but the second you see that the ball's not out and you realize your runner's just getting to first base, you know he didn't do something.
Right.
And then Kelenic exacerbates it by trying to, oh crap, let me hustle to get here, and he gets thrown out by 5 feet.
Yeah, at least Ronald stayed at first base and he get thrown out a second when he pimped his.
Right.
So it's kudos to him.
That goes back to history. Go back to 2019.
2019, we're going back to for
Ronald Acuña Jr. pimps what he thinks is a home run. It's a long single. So he should have been on second. He's not. He's on first. After pimping the home run and just staying on first, he tries to swipe second, and he's mowed down. So he cost his team an out and cost his team the best opportunity. Here is Brian Snitker from 2019, and you can hear the tone in the manager's voice. He didn't like that style of Braves play.
Yeah, he didn't run. You know, you got to run. You got to. You know, it's just not. It's not going to be acceptable here. I mean, as a teammate, you're responsible for 24 other guys, and that name on the front is a lot more important than the name on the back of that jersey. And you can't do that. We're trying to accomplish something and do something special here, and personal things got to be put in the back burner. You know, you can't let your team down like that.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to tell you, if that sparks the team, maybe that was something that can get them going, and now all of a sudden they turn this into a multi-game winning streak, fine. The fact that Ronald Acuña took the tweet down, I'm sure somebody called him immediately. He was like, bro, this isn't what we do.
What year was this?
2019. A game against the Dodgers.
All right. So he played 156 games that year. And how many did he miss? Just one? They sat him for one game? They sent him for one or just pull him out of that game?
I can't remember if they pulled him out. I can't remember if he was suspended for a game. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't know that he was. I think the pulling him out of the game was the punishment.
Correct.
Just
Which is the right thing to do.
Slap on the wrist.
Yeah. Embarrass in front of your teammates, embarrass in front of the baseball community.
You can't let your team down like that.
You can't let your team down like that, Finn. So that was the tone. So the I didn't see it comment, that's what got a little bit of heat from Braves country.
And you're okay with him missing it just because we got to hear from Snip because I want to hear
from him. He said he didn't see it. So to your initial question, how do you not see it? Well, you were looking to see if it was a home run, then you look down. So he could be accurate in his statement. Now, there's another component. Kelenic went into his office to apologize before he could get the fire and brimstone from his manager.
It's a vet move. It certainly is.
So it's a little bit different of a scenario when
Skip, my bad. My bad.
Or is it different? 404-231-1680. What do you think about this situation? Was it handled the right way? And do you think Ronald Acuña Jr. was right to be bothered by what happened to him and not what happened to Jarred Kelenic?
My first response is Ronald is right, but he handled it the wrong way. You're on injured reserve, or you're on the disabled list, whatever it is. You're rehabbing from a knee injury. You're not going to be back, I don't know, probably for another 30 days. We could use you. Now, it's not your fault your knee was torn up. Those things happen. It's called being an athlete. Every now and then you're going to tear stuff. What do we always get mad at athletes for? Running to social media and doing stupid things. You know, we got on Kevin Durant all those times for whining and crying on social media and going back and forth with people. I didn't think that was the time for Acuña to respond. But I don't think he's wrong with what he said. Jarred Kelenic is 1/50th of the player that Ronald Acuña is. And if you're going to treat your superstar that way, you treat your 8th place hitter the same way.
And see, I see it differently because if Mohamed Gay is loafing and he doesn't get yelled at, but Trae Young is loafing and he gets yelled at, the star player has more of an impact on the rest of the team. So I can understand why the guy who's got the bigger name on the marquee will get a little bit more heat as opposed to a guy who might be out of here.
And I'm just the exact opposite.
Ronald was 20 years old at the time. A statement and a move needed to be, an example needed to be set for a young up-and-coming superstar, which what he was becoming. He wasn't that guy just yet. I mean, he was really close, but he wasn't who he became that year or the season after or whatever, when a couple years later when he goes for 70 and 40, whatever it is. So I think and Snit was probably a fairly young manager at the time too, right? A couple years into his tenure here.
Well, with the Braves, yes.
Yeah, with the Braves.
Yeah.
Major league manager.
He'd been there. No, 2019, he had been there, 4 years, 5 years already? Freddie Gonzalez was let go in 2016 or 15. So Snit had been here at least 3 or 4 years.
So you just you handle different situations differently, and it's a strange. I think it was Ronald, and I don't know if he's watching the game with some buddies, and they're like, "Dude, that was you years ago." You know what he said, or then he take to social media and then he put something out there, and so I don't know what to think. I'm not going to lose my mind over it. I'm not upset at Snit. The only thing I would question is how he missed the entire play. Outside of that. Kelenic definitely needs to figure it out because you're not a home run hitter. Every time you touch the ball off your bat, you should be sprinting.
You're not guaranteed.
I don't care if you feel like it's going over the chop house.
He's
never, ever again do you not sprint out of the batter's box.
He's not guaranteed to be here this week, next week, or the week beyond that.
No doubt.
With all that's been going on. So that could have been a career-ending move for Jarred Kelenic. That's the severity of what's going on. As far as Acuña Jr., my opinion is, clearly – if you typed it, you thought it. So he was thinking about that. Why would you say that? Is he harboring something, or did that bring up old moments where he thought the talking to an embarrassment that he got, another Brave should have gotten it as well? Because
listen, he was embarrassed probably when it happened. He probably brought up some memories about how he was treated in that moment, right? And how he felt. And I'm telling you, he's probably not by himself watching that game.
With his family, his boys.
Right. Yes, and who knows? But it's just, and just to refresh it, Ronald Acuña says, if it were me, they would take me out of the game.
Does this have to be smoothed over when he returns? He's coming up in a month or so, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You see Ronald Acuña Jr., you know he's going to be asked about this. Well, so what does that do when he comes to the clubhouse for the first time?
And my next thing is, when does Ronald go, all right, I want more money? Because you got this year and next year. Then you got some club options, which obviously the team would want to exercise.
Oh, if they're smart, okay. That's interesting because you're dealing with a guy that's missed a lot of time.
He has.
So when you think about the contract and what he got and what could have happened if he busted his knee up before he got a long-term deal, you're talking about a whole lot of nothing.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. But
so
when
I think both sides have won in this scenario.
At the end of his club option, if you go to 2028, that's when his second club option is he becomes an unrestricted free agent. He's only going to be 30 years old. Ronald's going to want Aaron Judge money. He's going to want Shohei Ohtani money. He's going to want money along those lines. This is where you want to keep him as happy as you can, or else another Brave walks out the door.
Is somebody going to get the mega deal? Is he the guy that's going to get the mega deal from AA? Guys get really good, fair market deals.
If he's healthy, I think so.
Nobody's.
Well, he's not healthy.
Right.
Okay, when you come off of 2 ACLs, one on each knee, you're just not the same anymore.
No doubt.
Right? That doesn't mean he can't be a DH for his whole career and destroy the baseball.
Well, after his first ACL, it took him about a year, and then he won the MVP.
Right.
By going 41 and 70.
And how normal is that?
That's not normal.
But he's not a normal player.
Unique.
Sure.
So he could be unique at 30.
Listen, if you're the Braves,
surgically repaired.
Do you watch how he performs the rest of this season?
100%.
And extend him after the year?
I would,
Right.
because I don't want him going anywhere.
Sure.
Yeah, you want to make sure that that's behind you.
I'm not sure that's how baseball works, but I don't know. We'll have to ask baseball guys.
Here's Ronald Acuña Jr. after he got yanked years ago. He made up with his manager and said, you know what? The skip deserves the proper kudos.
Yeah, he just sat me down and just told me, hey, the reason this is happening is he didn't run that one out. There's no excuse for it. So I just kind of took it and said, of course. And like I previously said, he's the manager and I'm the player, and I will ultimately respect his decisions.
That's Franco Garcia translating for Ronald Acuña Jr. So we'll see if that's a little bit of nothing
Different strokes
or
for different folks.
little bit of something when he returns.